Hello all, and welcome to this Friday afternoon's beer review, which I'm going to dub the um, my computer died again. You know, it's really quite funny. I thought I got lucky, but then on Monday morning, my computer wouldn't start. I'm guessing that another round of power blippages affected my computer. And even though the protection light is still on my power bar, it's not protecting my computer. I took it into the shop yesterday and found out my CPU was fried, so it was probably the power fluctuations that did it in. But it wasn't that expensive to repair, so I went and splurged and I got a new graphics card for my computer. And so I'm slowly trying to work my way up to having like a better computer graphics setup, and it's actually really quite impressive. There's so much more details I see in videos and images, digital images now. You're probably not going to see it because this is a camera from 2008. So basically, it's like attaching, um, you know, it's just like putting a Porsche engine inside a Volkswagen Beetle. You're still not going to get like good results from it because in the end it's still an ancient thing. And I need to replace this webcam, but the thing is, it's like webcams have really, really gone up in price. It's everyone, so like it, you know, the cell phone revolution has basically killed the low end like webcams. So even like the cheap stuff, the cheapest webcams are like $400 now. And that's because it's expected that you use your cell phone if you're going to be doing something like this. I don't want to use my cell phone because of reasons. I don't know. I just don't like using my cell phone all that much for anything other than phone calls and texting. I'm a computer guy. Going on the internet with my cell phone the past few days felt like not good. Anyways, what is it that we are reviewing? We are reviewing something from Howzit Brewing. This is dark lager. It's a Czech dark lager, and it looks like it's been out for a while, but that's just because of the humidity. It's another storm's coming through. Luckily this time without as strong winds, but still dumping tons of rain. In fact, the town next to the one I grew up in is under evacuation order due to possible dam failure. So several thousand people have had to evacuate because if that thing breaks, it's going to wipe out the entire town. But anyways, back to the beer review. Kind of burying the lead there, aren't I? Okay, let's go and read the label now, shall we? An all day, every day, easy drinking dark lager, balanced notes of roasted malt and baking chocolate, wrapped in a silky smooth body, simple, clean, and crushable. 4.8 ABV. So this one's gotten a lot of good reviews from people who have just visited their brewery. And, Czech dark lager is a style that I really do enjoy. And it's kind of coming in vogue amongst craft beer heads. Namely, those people who are so into the scene, they're kind of like, IPA, hazy IPAs, so passe. Imperial stouts. What do they think I am? 25? I can't be drinking that every day now. So, in the search for something new, something flavorful, the Czech dark lager has stepped in. So, without much further ado, let's just go and pour this one out. Oh, oh my. First can I didn't do that, but then, like I said, I've been letting this one warm up a little bit. Okay, let's pour this gently because I think it's going to foam up quite a bit. And being that it's a pint sizer, okay. Oopsie, not my best idea. Yeah, right on the edge there. Look at that. Wow, this is really opaque. Only the slightest amount of light gets through. It's sort of an amber ruby. Very, very dark. with a beige to light brown head, very frothy to foamy, kind of carbonated. You can see a lot of gas coming out there. It's not very tight packed. Oh yeah. We got baking chocolate, some light herbaceous, almost slightly licorice root-like notes there. Very dark toast, almost black toast. Even like an almost very subtle smokiness kind of coming out of it, but there's no smoked malts going into it. It's kind of just how the dark malts kind of suggests to myself, just very subtle smokiness. But yeah, predominant note is of baking chocolate. I just like how I was holding up that head there. Okay, very 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 thick. Hmm. Almost creamy that head was. Onto the palate now, shall we? Yeah, you got a lot of roast up front there, but it clears towards the end quite nicely. Just a very subtle roasted note in the long finish. More grainy notes show up in the top note, in the front, and in the mids. And the herbaceous note in the nose comes out a bit stronger in the finish before fading. Mouthfeel is smooth, almost creamy, but without feeling thick. And a lasting roasty top note as well. Yeah, this is a nice beer. In some ways, they're very much like Irish dry stouts, but in other ways, they're very different. Of course, one being an ale yeast and the other being a lager. But the malting is somewhat similar. But just the different yeasts kind of show how different, outcomes can kind of be, particularly in, the more sensuous tactile affects on the palate. While mostly bitter and roasty up front, there is a nice balancing, subtle sweetness to it that persists throughout the palate. All in all, it's a very enjoyable beer. You're not going to be blown away by complexity or anything, but it's a very drinkable style. And this one is particularly well made, I think. Now, it's good drinking for me, but if I was going to make it absolutely sublime, just for my own personal preference, my own personal palate, just bump down the roastiness just a little bit, bump up the sweetness just a little bit more. And that would just be the perfect balance for the style for me. As it is, I'm not complaining. It's fine. Um, I'm enjoying drinking this. For some people, I think it would be really, really good. You know, that balance right there in between the roastiness and the sweetness would be just at the level they like. Light, but still having wonderful mouthfeel. Mm. That's why it's such a good style, you know? And I'm glad it's one that's kind of um, seeing a surge in popularity. Yeah. So, you know, it's craft beer. They're more on the pricey side for local craft beers. You know, I mean, inflation being what it is, prices going up and up and up. These canned 4 packs of pints are around like 18.99 now. So, you know, I try to look at things from the bright side. It's allowing me to, it's keeping me from drinking too much. That's what the rising price of beer is doing. I can only have two now because if I have more than two, I'm really being too um, frivolous with my money. Anyways, too, I'm probably also going to like cut back to maybe about. So I have some reviews in the can because obviously I couldn't upload while my computer was down. But I am probably going to be cutting back a bit on my reviewing. Mostly again because I want to focus on music. And anytime I sort of hit a wall in my music or a decision point, I kind of cut back on the drinking because you know, um, I find they kind of conflict with each other. I know some people drinking and playing music goes together like peanut butter and jelly, but it doesn't for me. I'm not going to be practicing for the rest of this afternoon or evening because I'm just not motivated. And after like 2 beers, it's like, have you even played before? That's my feeling. My coordination just goes into the toilet. Yeah. So hopefully, no more heavy rains for today and the next following days, because goodness knows the people of this state need some respite after. Can't believe it's like 2 days, you know, flooding. Last week, flooding. This week, yeah, and then for like, spring. I mean, for like most of summer and autumn, we had absolutely no rain at all, and now we're just getting drenched. It's kind of like our weather system's becoming more monsoon-like rather than, you know, um, subtropical sort of, trade wind based, sort of. But I guess that's climate change for you. If you believe it. Um, I do, but I'm not willing to go and like draw knives over it. Some people want to go and fight over everything. I don't want to fight over anything, man. It's like, what good is it going to do? It's not going to stop, like, the floods from happening. But yeah, jeez, sorry. I guess what's going on is affecting me a little bit. So, Howzit Brewing Dark Lager? Pretty darn good beer, and a style that I really like from a brewery that I'm finding interesting and I'd like to explore a little bit more. And that, folks, is your beer review for this afternoon. Prost.